Some of my favorite stories to tell are The Dragon's Pearl, The Magic Paintbrush, and also Why the Sky is So High. The story that I like to tell the most is definitely The Dragon's Pearl, because it was the very first story that I ever learned in full. And I also really love how the children are always so mesmerized by the dragon in the story because it's a mythical creature. So one memorable thing that I remember happening was after a very good storytelling session, a kid came up to me and he asked me how to be a storyteller just like me and what are the steps to take and also what other stories he should be reading in order to become a successful storyteller in the future. That made me very, very happy because it just showed me how my stories were able to impact another child and how somebody else also wants to be a storyteller just like me, passing on such folk tales on to other children as well in the future. After a storytelling session, I always think about what happened during the session and I always remember all of the reactions that the audience had. I always think about which part they reacted the most with and which part they followed along and which parts they didn't really follow along with and how I can better improve that in the future so that they could follow along all throughout the story in the future. And it always makes me happy to know that people are happy in every storytelling session that I've attended. I do storytelling because, especially in this digital age, a lot of children go to their phones and the TV to look for entertainment, especially parents will always provide them with a cell phone in these days. And I decided to do storytelling because I realized that stories are not as effectively passed on today, and I really wanted to be a medium for such stories to not be lost, and so that these stories can continue to live on in those children's minds, because these stories themselves really impacted me as a child myself, and they really made me happy and they brought me to a different place every single story, and I wanted to be that for somebody else. Whenever I tell stories, I always feel a sense of magic inside me, especially when I see the children's eyes light up when they hear my stories. It makes me feel very, very happy, and this is why I always continue telling stories, because it makes me and also the audience feel happy after a good session.